Another crucial element before we start siding is our exterior door and window trims, and that is the project for today. We have a bunch of different siding materials, from hardy to vinyl to board and batten made out of PVC sheet. And so how we do the windows is going to be a little bit different for all the situations. So I thought pretty hard about how this is going to work, especially because we are using Slicker Max rain screen by Benjamin Obdike. So the trims have to be integrated into that assembly as well. And I want to make sure that whatever happens, we are always shedding water down and out. That's the key to a long-lasting wall assembly. So I'm going to show you the assembly that I came up with. It's definitely not the most traditional way I think I've seen it done, but it does incorporate best practice elements of shedding water, and I think it's going to work all right. The beautiful Alpine windows we have installed use a traditional nailing flange to mount, which means they are flashed to the exterior wall, which is the zip system. And so I need to think through how we are going to manage water hitting that window, falling downwards, and then entering our rain screen cavity. To manage this, I kind of dreamed up a two-piece trim assembly where we have an inner layer that's got some drainage cavities in the top and bottom of it. That will let any water that ends up on top of that inner layer down and out into the rain screen. Once the inner layer is fastened, we'll be capping it with a decorative outer layer. We'll talk about how we built the outer layer in another video. The material we used for both the decorative and the sub trims are Versatex PVC. To fasten the inner layers, which are hidden, we just use standard 2.5-inch coated deck screws, but the outer layers will get fastened with special Cortex screws and plugs to hide the fasteners. The whole assembly gets capped off with a piece of metal head flashing. We have a dedicated video planned on the flashings for this build, so stay tuned for that. Here's a quick sneak peek of the finished product. The inner layer also is equal to the thickness of our siding stack up. So we have a 1/4 inch of rain screen thickness, and then our James Hardy will add about another 3/4 inch when it's lapped over one another. So about a 1 inch total. So I'm going to be using a 1 inch thick frame, basically a simple piece of PVC trim. I'm using 5/4 by 6 inch ripped in half to try to stretch the material further because the stuff is like gold, it's so expensive. And so it's about a 2 3/4 inch strip all the way around, and I'm just screwing that on right around the window. We've actually dadoed out one edge of that, the inside edge, to accommodate our nailing flange and the fasteners that are in it. That way it doesn't sit half on and half off the flange, and when you fasten it down, it's true to the wall and it's not crooked. So this is the first one we made for one of these back windows. You can see just a simple frame, and we're using pocket screws to put it together. So just a couple pocket screws. This is just to basically hold it temporarily while we get it all fastened. But check out the back here. Here's the dado that we ran on all 4 sides. That's 5/8 inches by about a 1/4 inch deep, maybe a little less than that. And then afterwards, I just took my circular saw and made a couple passes about every 8 inches or so all the way along. That way, any water that gets in here falls right into this one of these little weep holes and then down into our rain screen cavity. I don't anticipate a ton of water getting in here anyway because we will be head flashing this entire trim, but any water that hits the window and comes down, that's how we're dealing with it. So it's mostly to protect from driven rain and any incidental moisture or condensation that might build up. Now this is a sample of what the pretty part of the window trim is going to look like, and this is basically the decorative exterior portion. Helps a little bit with water management, but it's not going to be the most critical part of it. The main reason I'm doing something kind of non-traditional with the window trims is because I really didn't like the detail specified by the James Hardy catalog, and just what I've seen a lot where people just screw the trim right to the wall and then like J-channel around it, or they run beads of sealant like where the siding butts right into the trim. I just really didn't like how it looked, and I didn't like the idea of putting sealant on the window. It just seems like it's going to create a maintenance item long term. Even with some really high quality sealants that are out there, no sealant will last forever, so it's just something I'm going to have to come back to and touch again at some later date. So I tried to engineer my own system to prevent needing any sort of sealant. So I'm basically creating like my own J channel of sorts. Here's a regular J channel. I just bent this up on a sheet metal break, but this is the detail between this is our vinyl wall and our stone veneer. We cut the stone veneer here because remember, this is the side that we might be adding on to eventually, so we just wrapped it around part way. The J-channel's job is to receive the edge of the siding and hide that edge, and then you don't need any sealant. Any water that hits this or comes down in here just flows right out the bottom of the siding. The idea of J-channel, or just having a pocket to protect the edge of the trim without sealant, is something that I really appreciate from vinyl siding assemblies, and I really wish that like fiber cement or even like LP Smart Side, those manufacturers don't seem to encourage the use of it. I don't really know why. I mean, maybe they're thinking the moisture is going to wick into the edges if you don't have it sealed. We're gonna be painting the edges anyway, and these trim pockets are gonna be quite deep. On the windows, the 5.5 trim over top the 2 3/4 sub trim is probably gonna leave like a 1.5 to 2 inch deep pocket. So there's not gonna be a ton of direct exposure from water on top of these cut ends of the Hardie, and we're gonna be painting all the cut ends in the field anyway per manufacturer instructions. I think so. Not like it's heavy. Just very large. Yeah, I kind of forgot that we didn't do the outside rain drainers on this guy.
Do we need to?
I mean, I guess we did do it for the south wall.
You did it on the outside and inside?
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt. Hold the phone. I'm gonna take this down real quick. Check your plumb, see if that's plumb. Pretty decent. All right, nail it. If you go all the way out at the end, you'll have a jack or a king there. I had some leftover 5/4 pressure treated furring strips with the one edge painted from the corner boards, so I used those around the man doors to save a bit on cost.
Alex is working on putting furring strips around the back door. You can see we already did it around this window over here and this other window. So we're down to this door and one more window and then we are done. So thanks to the help of my dad, Alex and him have really grinded and got this done.
Here's a little detail under this door that most probably would never think about, but we have a sill pan here that's got these weep holes in it. I need something to also support the edge of this threshold here because there's probably about a 1 inch span that's unsupported. My plan is to add a piece of PVC trim here to support this, but also allow drainage here and still look nice on the face of it. So I'm going to match where these are at and route little 1/2 inch wide grooves so that any water that happens to get in there is not trapped. It can work its way down over my flashing and then down on the ground. And then once I route these grooves in, I'll be using these Fasten Master Cortex screws. Very expensive but high quality set of fasteners with plugs, and they will match the weight perfectly. These things are not cheap. I'm not gonna waste a single one of these screws. It's our first dinner in the camper after a hard day of PVC window trim. What do we have to eat?
We had some chicken and pork, salad fresh from the garden, and banana bread made by my mom.
Excellent. This is awesome.
Homemade rolls.
This is
Homemade
awesome.
rolls.
This morning's siding prep project is the PVC sub trim, I guess I should call it, around these garage doors. Let me walk you through what we're doing here. So we flashed our framing with zip tape. You can see just the edge of it here. Then put our metal fascia trim on that wraps around the corner here. This protrudes with the fasteners probably around 1/4 inch, so we decided it would be easiest just to put a small shim here, and then we're gonna lay a piece of 1x4 PVC right over top here. We'll leave a 1/2 inch reveal away from this, and that will form the base layer for our larger trim, which is gonna be 5.5 inches wide, and that will basically give us a pocket to run our PVC sheet into. The wall assembly for this front wall is going to be, of course, our zip sheathing, then our Benjamin Obdyke rain screen, then a piece of 1/2 inch PVC sheet, and then we'll be putting 1x3 batten strips at 16 inches on center to create our board and batten look. They make this board and batten in a number of preformed materials, but we like the PVC because it opens up the range of how wide you can put your batten strips. A lot of the vinyl products on the market are a very narrow batten because if the vinyl gets too wide, then it starts buckling in the sun. So the PVC is thicker and more stable. James Hardie makes a fiber cement panel similar to these PVC sheets, and we probably could have gone with that too, but I like the PVC because it's so easy to work with. You can use normal woodworking tools. It takes paint really well. It's definitely not cheap. I mean, one of these sheets I think is close to $100. I think we need like 10 of them. So we're gonna spend over $1,000 just in PVC sheets. But we think it'll be worth it in the long run, and I'm really looking forward to how it looks. I'm gonna make weep holes in the garage door top trims just like I did with the window top and bottom, except on the garage door, I'm just gonna do it on the back side because you'll actually see this front edge, so I don't really wanna see the grooves if possible, but I at least wanna have some on the back side. We're still gonna be head flashing over the main trim that will go on top of this, but having the weep holes in the back of the trim to allow some airflow and take care of any incidental moisture, I think will be good practice. Kind of lift it up. Ugh. I mean, it can basically sit on top of the jamb. So I'm gonna just nail it as I go, making sure I get the right 1/2 inch reveal. I still got to come through and screw all this in, but yeah, I tried to do a better job on the ones that would actually be exposed, because you're going to see that in the finished assembly.
Well, here, let me help you.
That's good.
Don't screw it up, Elaine. I mean, he's been doing okay up until now.
Yep, don't jinx me. All of a sudden I'll fall off a ladder.
Oh no.
All right. Yep, looks good already. We don't even have the final trim on. Final trim will be even wider. I'm glad we're going with the wider trim. So that's what it would have looked like with just 1x4s, which would have been okay too, actually. That's all there is to know about our door and window preparation for siding. We still do need to cover mechanical blocks, but that'll be in another video. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.